Coach Holt, make sure you're not muted. Coach, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
All right.
Good evening, Coach. What's going on, Coach Holt?
Now I can't hear you. I don't know what happened.
Gotcha. Let's get the audio and technical things good. Let's get it going. Let's see.
No audio. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, sir.
I can't hear you. Yeah. To go through my phone. This. Okay,
Try it again, Coach. See if we can connect it and see if that'll help the
I
audio.
hear you now.
You hear
I
me?
hear you now. Mm-hmm.
What's going on, Coach? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Man, I can't complain if I needed to, man.
I hear you. I hear you.
Man, living in this COVID-19.
Man, it's definitely a little different. I tell you, it ain't it's something we used to.
Man, I was just thinking, man. I said, I don't think we haven't ever experienced anything like this in our lifetime, Coach.
Nothing like this, man. Nothing even close, really. You know, everybody is shut down or can't leave, stay at home, stay all that. You know, we used to moving.
Especially your profession, Coach.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I remember, kind of give you a little bit background. I remember, what was it, a few years ago, we met,
Mm-hmm.
and at the Final Four, we had
Right.
history being made with,
Yeah.
Tino.
Yeah. The shot.
Man,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything in the irony is a person short in stature to be able to knock a giant.
She knocked them down. She knocked them down. They said giants do fall. And they did. Nobody, I know I wasn't expecting it. Yeah.
So give us some background about yourself, Coach, your playing days. I see you were a sharpshooter in the Bama area.
Yeah, man. Coming up, I just, got into shooting the basketball and, I played a little junior college basketball over at Snead State. And, I went in and, it's a funny story. I went in, I actually walked on my first year. And during before the tryout, the coach said, "Son, you can't make my team. You're not tall enough. My guards are 6'3" and 6'4". Well, obviously I made the team and ended up being, one of the better shooters on the team. But, played at Snead State. And then I came on back to Alabama A&M, which is where I graduated from. And I got there, I was going to walk on again, but I would have been fourth string because the best player in the league was at my position. Then the second person on the totem pole could have started on any other team in the league. So yeah, it was real deep at my position. So that's kind of how I got into coaching. I stayed around the team. I was a part of the team, as a manager, and that's how I got into coaching.
Wow, Coach.
Yeah.
That's very interesting, man. I don't think you know this about me, but I'll share it since we have some commonalities. I'm a JUCO. I'm a Jew.
Yeah.
There's something about those Jews, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing, man. You really can't explain if you ain't never been a part of it. It's kind of like
that's right. I mean, it may not be for everybody, but hey, it's a way. If you don't have another way, that's a way to get there.
Gotcha, man. So, what was your biggest influence picking up the game of basketball, and what was some of that? Where'd they come from?
Well, that's pretty much, I come from a poor neighborhood, so we would nail a bicycle rim on the tree, that kind of thing. So that was basically all we had, a ball and a tire rim. So, that's how I started playing basketball, in the yard with my brothers, my neighbors or whatever. And then I was able to see it on TV, and I became a Lakers fan back in '79. I'm telling my age now, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was my guy,
Yes,
and
sir.
I always wanted to throw that sky hook. So that's kind of how I got introduced into basketball, man. I love the Lakers. I still love the Lakers to this day, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was my guy.
Got you, man. That's another thing. I'm a Lakers fan.
Yeah.
You know, I grew to be a Lakers fan. I always respected Kobe Bryant,
Mm-hmm.
but my respect actually grew to liking him and being like, that's my dude.
Yeah. Vicious, man. A vicious man, talking about work ethic, that type of stuff, man. You can't beat him. I mean, he took nothing for granted on that floor. And that's what I loved about him.
Yeah, man. Just he left his legacy on
He
that
did.
floor. I don't think
He did.
anybody. I could be wrong. I'm a basketball historian. I claim to be, but I could
Mm-hmm.
be an error when I say this. That I don't think anybody that's played 10 plus years in the NBA has scored as much as 60 points their final game.
No, nobody's ever done that. Nobody's ever done that. And I'm a historian too. Ain't nobody ever even got close that last game. So I don't even think they scored 30, but maybe that was reachable, but 60, nah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Mamba out.
Mamba out. Drop
Yeah.
the mic. Mamba out.
That's how you go out. Yeah.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
Coach, man, what's some of your greatest accomplishments on and off the playing platform?
Well, I would say on the floor, probably three things on the floor. One would be when I got my scholarship to go play junior college basketball. That was a big goal of mine to get a scholarship. I walked on, and then I received a scholarship after that. Another one would be when I was a part of the coaching staff at Alabama A&M when we won 3 straight South Region championships and went to the Elite Eight 3 years in a row. And then the last I say would be becoming a Division I assistant coach. All those they rank real high up there together. Some of my accomplishments on the floor.
Beautiful, man. Coach, let me ask you, man. Out of all your coaching years, what's some of the accolades? Some of the you players you coach. Have you ever coached anybody to go pro overseas, the W, anything like that?
Well, I coached quite a few guys. I coached men at Alabama A&M for a while, and I had some guys that went overseas. Matter of fact, I have 3 that still play over there right now. Ladarius Tab, Nick West, and Quintarian McConaughey. Those 3 guys are still playing overseas. Oh, and also J.J. Ingram. So those guys still playing pro ball overseas. So I've had quite a few guys that have come across. I haven't had any ladies that played WNBA. I did have some to play overseas as well. I had about 3 of those. So, women, they don't always want to go play pro ball. Some of them will if it's in the state, but they don't always want to go overseas. So I've had a few though.
Coach, what's some of the hesitancy of the females going overseas, still pursuing the basketball?
Well, unless you in the top tier, the upper level, it's not as much money. It's not really worth it. You can get a job over here, making the same kind of money you would make over there, playing ball. So unless you the upper level, Diana Taurasi, those type people, it's not as worth it, money wise. But I mean, some go just for the experience, to say I went over there to play pro ball overseas. But I think that it comes down to the economics of it.
It makes sense, man. I think I talk to people time to time, man, and they, especially females, they have a bone to pick with these 18, 19-year-old kids getting at least 100,000, but when the W,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little different, man. But I mean, it's all about butts in the seats, man, and sponsorship. Those are two things that drive it. I mean, if you can get butts in the seat and sponsorship, you can, you know, your product. I mean, your product is doing something.
absolutely, absolutely, coach, man. So I know you said you've been there for like 4 years. What was the like, man? This is the right place for me.
That's a good question. Alabama A&M and Alabama State are rival.
I do know that.
I went to Alabama A&M and I graduated there and worked there for 16 years before coming down here. So I met the coaching staff years ago. We were rivals, button heads or whatever, and we got close. As the years went along, we got close. And, I felt like it was time for me to make a transition in my career. I'd never been away from Alabama A&M. So this was, I think, a great opportunity for me at the time to come down here to Alabama State and be a part of this program and to join their family, because that's what we call it, a family. And, it was seamless. As a matter of fact, my wife is from Montgomery as well. So it was seamless. My in-laws live here. And,
Oh wow.
It was an easy transition for me. It wasn't like I was going somewhere that was unfamiliar.
Wow. Family is always important, man. So interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. Because I know they rivals, and I'm like,
Yeah.
how
Oh,
that?
man. I've been called everything there was, and the first word is traitor.
Oh, yeah.
But hey, I had to do what I had to do. And I ain't the first one to do this. So, I mean, it is what it is.
That's part of it, man. So you've been in the game for a while on the boys and on the female side and on the male side as well. So from a coaching perspective, what's some of the pitfalls players experience and why?
Well, right now, the pitfall is freedom of movement. And I'm talking about transfer.
Oh,
I think that's a pitfall. I mean, I think I call it the devil. The transfer portal is the devil to me because it's loaded with kids. The first sign of trouble is I want to transfer, or the coach yell at me, I want to transfer. And that's not necessarily the right move for everybody. I mean, there's only so many scholarships to go around. Okay. And you get out there and you get in the portal, you're a Division I kid, you get in the portal and, all the D1 scholarships gone. Now you got to go D2 or D3 or whatever, so they're not really looking at the statistics. They looking at, well, I'm not happy. Well, make yourself happy. And that's what they try to do by leaving. I think that's a pitfall.
This I was talking with a basketball guru one time, man, and they were just saying that, and I agree to a certain extent, coach. It's like um, the first sign of trouble, and I think that's where a lot of you see what a lot of players have and how they
Mm-hmm.
deal with problems. I think
Mm-hmm.
if you can't come to the coach, if I find out you want to transfer publicly in a portal, that's my notification.
Yeah.
Coach, I'll share this story with you, man. I actually had one of my clients. I worked a deal and everything. Got the kid an opportunity. Didn't have to pay for nothing. All they had to do bring their clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So then go for. And what this what kids don't understand, your rookie year, you probably not gonna play much.
Yeah, that's most schools. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
fast forward a little bit, towards the end of the year, she talked to the coach. Didn't talk to me. Talked to the coach, and like, I don't feel right. I don't think I'm coming back. Like when you tell that to a head coach, the decision's out your hand at this point.
Absolutely.
And they came back and told me, I'm like, I don't think that's the right move. Didn't say much. Just spake that. A couple weeks, it was like, man, I ain't coming back. I'm like, listen here. Are they continue paying for your education? Oh, they are. Are they continue paying food on your table? Oh, they are. They paying your bills, all your bills. They are.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and they'll do it, man. They'll jump in a minute. I mean, it's kind of like this. Don't take another job unless you got one. Don't leave this job unless you got another job. Period.
Say it to the people in the back because they didn't hear it. They didn't hear it.
Yeah, yeah. You don't leave this job unless you got another one. I've always believed in that, and I tell my kids that. And if you're thinking about quitting your job, you make sure you got another one.
And I think kids need a support system, and I think coaches, as part of the recruiting process, you feel comfortable with that coach. You trust that
Yeah,
coach to come to them and just express your disgruntlements and everything. And I think that's important because your support system.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, I think also, kids and their, I'll say their support system, they look too much at the name of the school versus, you know, who the coaches are, what the coaches can do for you. Are they going to really help? Are they going to care about you? Are you just going to be one of the players? Are you going to be somebody in the program? I think too often they look at the name of the school or if they're going to be on TV, all that. I mean, everybody on TV now. So, everybody on TV. High school on TV. AAU on TV. Everybody on TV.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, but when you get your bachelor's degree or master's degree, it doesn't say D1, D2, or D3, does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. No, it doesn't at all.
At all.
I don't, unless the school got a D in it. Don't say D anything. Yeah.
And Coach, tell me if I'm right or wrong on this too. I had a discussion with a parent. That's why I like doing this because parents just think, even though I went to JUCO, even though I went D1, played pro, and all that, they were like, what you're talking about. But isn't it true that Scottie Pippen went to NAIA?
Yes, he did. Central Arkansas. Yes, he did.
Got 6 rings, don't he?
Got 6 rings and $100 and some million.
Come on.
Yeah.
And
so I mean, hey, you got to find your niche wherever it is. Yeah.
I agree. So, man, on the coaching aspect, man, what's some of the things you see coaches be like, man, you know what? Not doing that. Well, not doing it, not experiencing that, not even going through that pitfall. What's some of those things?
I think coaches as well. I mean, we look to move too often as well. I mean, every summer you're gonna see somebody with a different shirt on. Like I got this one on. Next summer they got a different shirt on. Next summer they got a different shirt on. And I think that too, could be a pitfall. And I understand they're trying to build a brand, build a career, whatever, make their resume look better. But it doesn't really show loyalty. And that's one thing that's not as common in our profession is loyalty. I mean, they say I'm loyal, but as soon as the next hot thing come up, I got to go. So, I mean, I think that, moving around and not being loyal to one place, I mean, that's almost unheard of. For me to be at a place for 16 years, I mean, it just happened to be my alma mater, but you don't hear about that much anymore.
Do you think it's interesting that the portal has been established, but the portal has always been there for the NBA because it's free agent. How do you think? Do you see a parallel from the NBA how they move around so much voluntarily? Sometimes you don't have a choice, but voluntarily, in how the NCAA is allowing it now.
Well, the difference is I think the NBA you getting paid to do a job. In the NBA, I mean, and I guess you can kind of say it in college if you got a scholarship, but I think that's their profession. This is amateurism. That's their profession, and like I said, if they see that you playing for the Clippers, but the Knicks gonna double your salary, you can't really argue with that. I'm gonna go there, gonna give me a multi-year deal. That's definitely a whole different story versus being in college. All the next school can give you is a scholarship and probably cost of attendance. Some people's cost of attendance is a little bit higher than others, but that's all they can give you legally. I did say legally.
On the table On
On the table, yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
Got you, man. So good, man. So when you going out coaching, you recruiting kids, what's some of the things, not specifically the needs of the program, what's some things like
Mhm.
that kid right there, that's a player. That kid can be in my program. I can help them develop as a person, as an athlete, and they'll be assets to this program.
Some kids just have the it factor. Um, I typically look at athleticism. I look at if they're coachable. Because I mean, no matter how good an athlete you are, if you ain't coachable, I mean, you're not gonna work well with a team. I look at if they're coachable. I look at athleticism. I look at their IQ. You can tell a kid's IQ by watching them play basketball. If they do smart things on the floor. Things that you might not be expecting them to do. So those are kind of things I kind of look for. And like I said, the it factor, because I mean, ain't a lot of kids that got that.
What have you ever? Okay, so the it. Can you go into detail about that? You say the it factor.
I'd say the it factor is something that you see that's out of the ordinary, that that could propel you to the next level, or that player could come and make a difference instantly with your program, or maybe even a year or so down the road. Something that makes them stand out, not necessarily in a negative way, but in a positive way. So that's kind of like what I mean by the it factor.
Got you. So tell me some of the things you be like, nope, that's a turnoff for you as a coach. Body language, kind of go into detail about that.
Well, definitely body language is one thing. If they're not coachable, that's a turnoff. If the coach says something to them and they, wave them off or turn their head without acknowledging the coach, that's a turnoff. If they are not a team player, that's a turnoff. If you're gonna shoot the ball every time you touch it, that's not gonna work. I mean, no college team in the country gonna win the championship with one person shooting the ball every time down the floor. Even when Jordan played, he passed the ball sometimes. So I mean, we look at those type of things for sure.
Got you. So being in the game for a while, I'm sure you've seen some of these. We call them helicopter alum or parents, the ones that are very supportive, shall we say?
Hmm.
How do you incorporate that into your recruiting process?
Ain't no question. We look at it. If we're at a ball game and the loudest person in the gym is that kid's parent, and I ain't talking about positive loud. I'm talking about negative loud, like you fussing at the coach, fussing at the referees, that kind of stuff. Well, that kind of stuff will carry over. They don't just stop it when that kid leaves high school. They gon' that's who they are. That's who they are. So I mean, and what that does, it makes that kid play a certain way. You know, if you got a vocal parent and I'm gonna use for an example, Lonzo Ball. Okay, we know his dad is, the vocal guy, Now his kids are super talented. So that's one thing that I can deal with them because these kids are super talented and they're coachable versus a kid that's talented, got a loud parent, and they're not coachable. Those two things that won't mix. But if they're coachable, and then sometimes you can talk to the parents and say, hey, when they come to us, we need you to kind of take a step back, and be a regular parent, be a regular fan or whatever. And some will adhere to that, but usually they are who they are.
Coach, have you ever experienced through the recruiting process? Have you ever experienced a parent doing more coaching, doing more talking when you meet with the kid and the parent? Did the parent talks more than the kid?
Quite a few times, and that's a turn off as well because the parent is not coming to play for me. That's not who I'm recruiting. I mean, in a way we are recruiting the parent, but we're not recruiting them to come and play. We're recruiting the kid. So when the parent does all the talking and the kid, yes, no, I need you to talk. I need you to verbalize to me what you're feeling. That's how we build our relationship. I can't build a relationship with you by you saying yes, yes, sir, no, sir. I need you to talk to me. And so the parents that I guess overbearing or have taken you know, just ran away with the conversation, not letting the kid talk. That's not necessarily a good thing for the kid.
Yeah. Have you ever, and maybe this is getting too deep, have you ever experienced where it's like when you recruited a kid, it was all great, and it got to the where the parent become a distraction, a negative aspect to the program? Have you ever experienced where it's like, hey, we got to cut ties, or we have to do something different?
I have experienced that. Matter of fact, it's happened probably 4 or 5 times in my career. So, I hated to do it. Yeah, I hated to do it, but it's one of those things where it wasn't conducive for what we were trying to do. It was negative. I mean, you're getting called into the athletic director's office, and
Wow.
yeah, and then the other players start talking about it, stuff like that. So, then that's a black eye, and you need to make a change.
And I'm sure that hurt the young child.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, they know their parent better than you do.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's ludicrous. But moving on, man. So what's your thought on social media? How does that come into play with people, youth that you recruit, and the kids that are already there? How does that play?
Social media can be really good or really bad. Um, you know, Kids posting, their favorite, games or whatever, that's fine. You're doing little tricks on there, that's fine. But when they cussing on there and they're provocative, or, you know, drinking alcohol or smoking drugs or whatever, that's all negative. And that's not what it was meant for. But there are some that use it in the right way. They post their clips from their games and all that kind of stuff. They talk to their friends, they talk to coaches, all that kind of stuff on social media, and that's great. Using it the right way. But I think it's got its pros and cons. It's good and bad.
Wow. So getting into it, have you ever been like, man, this kid is really good? Let me assume.
Hmm.
I'm assuming what I'm also posing the question. One of the first things you look at is grades. You're going to talk to the counselor.
Absolutely. Look at the grades first, because I mean, if you got a 1.5 GPA and you're about to be a senior, there is no catching up there. I mean, that tells me that if you got a 1.5 GPA, you're not getting ready to make a 30 on the ACT. Usually that's not going to happen unless somebody take it for you, of course, and that's illegal. But you look at the grade, and I'm gonna tell you about that. A lot of times when a kid doesn't have above a 2.5 GPA, it's gonna be hard to get that transcript, because they're gonna say, well, the coach gonna say, well, the parent, they're gonna say the counselor. They're gonna pass the buck around all day without trying to get you that transcript. And we need the transcript because we need to evaluate it. And who knows? Sometimes we can help you and show you how to get out of that. How to get around some of that. I mean, but I get it. They're kind of embarrassed by their grades or whatever, but no sense in being embarrassed. Those are your grades. Just like it's your name. Yeah.
Birth.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
wow. So that's crazy, man. And you know, um, very interesting. But that's social
Yeah.
media. So do y'all have any guidelines for social media? Because when I was coming up, I mean, we didn't. Social media wasn't what it is now. So it's like,
Right. Yeah, it's a whole different monster now, and we do have guidelines. As a matter of fact, you have to be friends with the coach on the staff so that we can monitor our sports information. They monitor it as well, so that you're not on there. You can't post certain things, anything like I said, drugs, alcohol, provocative stuff, language. They have language barriers and stuff like that you're not allowed to do. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's a reflection on the university as well. You the star running back at the school, but on your social media, you out clubbing every night, drinking, smoking, you in the, all kind of stuff that's not really conducive for the athletic department at our university, and for the face of the university as well. So I mean, we do have guidelines for them to follow.
I mean, it makes sense. It's because I could be wrong, but social media is an expression of how you are on the inside. Really, it could be a resume.
Yeah, they could. That's right. A lot of people have been taken off lists for jobs because of their social media, binge drinking, stuff like that. You was out, at a party, and you was the person chugging. Well, it's like, okay, I looked at their resume, John Doe, off the list because of their social media. Every word came out of your mouth was a cuss word. Because at the end of the day, you represent my company. If I hire you, represent my company now, and that's money that's not gonna come in the door because them people see you out there. It's like, oh, don't you work at? Yeah, yeah.
Wow. See, those things I never. I kind of assume, but you breaking it down, it's like, man, tell me now. I gotta be like, hey, you don't have to listen to me, but
Yeah.
Look at this. Listen to what this coach is saying. Parents, listen to what this coach is saying because it's a second vessel. I
That's
might
it.
be a vessel, but when they hear it from the same thing from a different vessel, it's like, oh, this is consistent.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hey, you better be mindful about what you post. I mean, they said, think before you press send. You better think twice. Because once it's gone, buddy, that's it. Ain't no coming back. You can try to delete it all you want to. It's out there.
Somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere. Yeah.
So, coach, man, what's a day? What's a regular day for a player? What's a regular
Man,
day in and out of season?
well, in season, they're really, really busy. I got to tell the truth. They're really busy. Let's say we'll have weights in the morning, say 6 a.m. in the morning. They'll go to class. Around 11 o'clock, 11 to 12:30, we'll practice. They'll have a break. We'll come back from 1:30 to 2. I'm sorry, 2 to 4, we'll have practice. And then we may watch film for 20, 30 minutes. Then they'll go to dinner or whatever. If someone may have night classes, then we'll come back and go to study hall, 8 o'clock at night. So your whole day is taken up in season. You like I said, weights, class, practice, class, film, study hall. That's a normal day in a college athlete's life. The whole day. I ain't got no time for myself. Yeah, this is your time right here. Now out of season, non out of season, it's a little bit more lenient, even though we have postseason and preseason workouts, which, obviously we can't spend as much time with them at then, but they still have study hall. We won't have anything like film or anything. Just, we'll have our workouts in the study hall, but then they still have their classes they have to do. So, those are the easiest times, preseason and postseason. Yeah.
What about from a coach's perspective?
Well, one thing about coaches, we are always doing something. If it ain't recruiting, it's scheduling, we're looking at strategies and plays and stuff like that, watching film, trying to break down opponents, trying to, figure out what we're going to do with our team, in regards to recruiting and filling whole. So it's always, we always doing something as a coach on a daily basis. We get up, for workouts at 6 a.m., with them, and then you have to take care of yourself too in the process, try to get your own workout in, because I mean, this profession can be stressful sometimes, and the best way to work it off is to work out. You work off some frustration or some stress. I mean, because one thing about it, your job ain't guaranteed next year. You know, even the people with contracts can be bought out. So, you have to do something to try to take that stress off. And, that's one of the things that I know I do.
So, coach, I hear that from time to time about being bought out. So, is it? I guess if both parties or the parties involved cannot come to a mutual understanding, um, I guess they can be bought out for less than what the contract value is.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, yeah, that's what they, that in a lot of contracts, there's a buyout amount in it. And they typically try to go by that. But, you know, any business person is going to say, well, let me see if I can get them to take less. I'm going to see if I just like buying a car, I'm going to see if I can get them to take less. So it's it happens quite a bit. You see it all the time, these coaches, going from this job to that job. And it's like, well, their contract had a buyout clause in it, you know. So that's what they typically go with.
You know, I guess it's six and one half a dozen. If you get bought out, you relieve of your duty. I guess you can. I guess in a good sense, you can go on vacation and still get a check.
Yeah, if you got enough money, yeah, you could. But sometimes in those buyout clauses, it says that this coach can't coach anywhere else until 2 years or 3 years down the road. I remember, I think Nolan Richardson, you remember him? He had a clause like that where he couldn't go coach anywhere for the next 2 or 3 years because of, Arkansas bought him out. He had years left on his contract, but they bought him out. So, he I think he faced something like that. But it happens quite a bit,
So
especially those major schools.
I guess when you hear stuff like that, you look at it and be like, if that's the case, and they're going to suspend your income, you're going to limit the income. That I
Yeah.
mean,
But, in essence, if let's say they bought you out for $2 million and that's spread out over 3 years. Well, if you got an option to get a job that's making $4 or $5 million a year, you're gonna say, "Don't worry about that buyout. I'm gonna go take this. You know, I'm gonna go take this job. $4 million over. For 5 years. So it. We talking about the big money people. We ain't talking about you know.
I got talk about the kind of Paris and the big.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I got the blue bloods.
Yes, sir.
I got you. I'm
Yeah.
there with you. I'm there with you.
Yeah.
So, Coach, man, what's your thoughts on AAU summer ball? Talk to me on that. Let's touch on that.
Let me tell you what's good about it. For AAU, summer ball, that type of stuff, it's good for coaches to see a lot of players at one location. We can't possibly go see every kid in every gym all over the country. But, you got 300 or 400 teams in one building. I mean, that's a coach's dream, as a college coach, because, I mean, nobody's budget can afford them to go every day recruiting somewhere. I mean, you got to coach your own team. You got, that's a lot of money. So you pay one fee, go to one building, you got 300 teams under the building. I mean, that's great. It allows, for kids to get exposure that wouldn't ordinarily get it. But the bad thing about it is kids know that they're playing in front of coaches. They get selfish. They playing me ball instead of we ball. They don't pass it that often. And that's the majority of them. It's almost like playing an all-star game every day. I got to be seen. I got to get the MVP. So I mean, I think that's the negative of it. But it does get them exposure, and that ain't always good exposure, but it get them exposure. It ain't always good, because I mean, you might be really good on your high school team, but you get on the AAU team, you're not that good. You average 20 in high school, but you average 4 on the AAU team. That's gonna hurt you.
Here's the thing, Coach. you over here in my notes. You know that you over here in my notes. You over here in my notes. You ain't going in Alabama. Get out of Texas.
All right.
Oh, coach. I was just putting down. A lot of people don't understand the difference, and you own it though. You red hot. You finna get in that pot. The difference between exposure and being exposed.
Yeah. The difference in exposure and being exposed. Okay, exposure means that I'm showcasing my talent for whoever it may be, coaches, parents, other teams, whatever. I'm exposing my talent. I'm showcasing my talent. But being exposed could be a big negative for you to show exposing your weaknesses, exposing how you play with a real team, a team that has better players. Like most high school teams got two pretty good players, most of them. Some, are a little bit, more advanced than others, but most of them, two pretty good players. Okay, AAU, we've taken all the good players and put them together. Okay, now everybody on that team can play. It's just like going to college. Everybody on the college team was somebody on their high school team. You was the best player or the second best player most of the time. Okay, so AAU is kind of, a idea of what that is, going to college. But, being exposed to, you don't handle the ball as well as you thought you did. You can't play defense like you really thought you could. I mean, that's being exposed, and you can't score on anybody who really guarding you, because I've been to some high school games where, one team they seem to be really good, but they're playing the school of the blind. Okay.
Come on.
That team, can't beat anybody. You can set out 5 water bottles and the water bottle's going to win. Okay. So, but you look really good against them. You scored 30. But you go play AAU and the team you playing against, all them kids can play. You can't get a basket. They blocking your shot. They stealing your ball. You can't guard anybody blowing right by you. So now you being exposed. So, it's that's one of the things they have to watch out for. But it's not enough realists in the world anyway. I'm talking about parents and players. They think that everybody think they're high major. Everybody think that. But when you get up against high major, what do you do?
You know, Coach, and you hit the nail on the head about being exposed. I think, when people are exposed, their stock goes down.
Oh, no question. No question. And I'll add on to that, when you're talking about that stock, one thing kids got to be careful about is telling everybody no. Because you might, let's say I call you and you won't have any interest in my school. No, I don't want to talk. Okay, now you really on my level, but you think you can go play at Duke. Okay? You think you can go play at Duke. I'm waiting on Duke to call me, but they don't have a call. You done sent them all kind of emails and call them and everything. You've done all that. They don't respond to it. They don't call back. Well, 2 months later, you back calling me. Well, I thought you told me no. Because, one thing about it, everybody got a list. Everybody got a list. Okay? You mark me off of your list, I'm going to have to mark you off mine. If you come back, I've already put somebody in that position.
That list. That's that list.
Yeah, everybody got one.
That list.
Everybody got one. If you don't have a list, you ain't doing anything. Yeah.
Oh, wow, Coach. Being real. I think right now, I just really think at this point, man, the truth man is the bad guy. The truth person.
Who's that?
The truth person tell the truth is bad guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no question. No question. The truth teller is the bad guy. But you need to hear the truth. You need to hear it.
You respect it more.
It don't always feel good, but you need to hear it.
Wow. Yep. Coach, man, it looks like to me just hearing your story, hearing your background, everything, man, seems like God favored you.
Man, he's all over me, man. He's all over me. Yeah, that's the best thing ever happened to me right there.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Preach,
sir.
man. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. When I accepted him
Yeah.
as my Lord and Savior, hey, that's the best thing ever happened to me right there. Yep.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. So,
Yep.
Coach, man, talk to me how you balance family, life, and work.
The good thing is, man, my family, they're used to this. They wanted to be a part of this. When I got married a long time ago, uh, my wife, she was an athlete. So, it was like, yeah, let's do this. Let's do this, And so it's been seamless. My kids were involved in athletics. They may not be college level, but, they've been involved in athletics. So being able to balance that, they travel with me when they can. I get to their games when I can. And we do a lot of stuff together when we can. We always take a vacation every year. That's one thing I said that I would always do, no matter what. Every year I'm taking a vacation with my family because you can get caught up in this profession, and I'm trying to get to the next, trying to get to the next. What if it don't ever come? That's one thing about family and kids, man. You can't ever get that time back with your kids. You can't ever get it back. Once, last time you looked at little Johnny, he was 6 years old. Now he's 16.
Mm.
You know, that time go by fast. So, I'm involved in my kids' lives, and so that's one thing I would always encourage. You do something with your family, man. Don't let your job be everything because it's not your source anyway. You know. So that's what I say.
Great, man. Man, Coach, I greatly appreciate it, man. We will be in contact. If our program, if y'all have any needs, just reach out to us, man. And hopefully we can look in the stock and see what we got and see if we can help you out.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. I was glad to do it, man. Anytime, appreciate y'all reaching out.
Not a problem, man. Coach, man, you take care. I appreciate you.
All right, brother. Take care, man.
Good luck this season.
Thanks a lot.
All right.